Welcome to another video, glad you clicked on it, because today I'm breaking down my latest release, Let You Go. So I guess we just start at the top, and those are the drums of the song. The drums on the drop sound a bit like this. I went for a little two-step groove, nothing too complicated. Some things to point out. Well, first of all, the kick and the snare, those are like the most basic two-step pattern you can have. Makes sense, right? For the heads, I actually cheated a little bit and I used a loop from a sample pack. And I know that using a loop might be like lazy. You can also make your own hi-hat loops, you know. But I really like this loop, so if you like something a lot, like why not add it to your song, right? It makes the song better. But to also make the loop a little bit my own, I added some own percussion in between. So it's not just the loop. Also another thing to notice are these hits. They sound like this. It's almost like a water droplet or something, but it gives a little bit tone to your drums. Hard to explain, but it just fits really well. So those are basically the drums on the drop. To transition into the second part, I made a small little snare roll. With the droplet, of course. And then we switch to 4 on the floor, a kick on every beat. That's basically the first drop. The second drop is a little different. Instead of a two-step pattern, I just went for 4 on the floor. But something cool before the second drop is, because it's kinda a switch up in the song, I used a lot of effects. And those are basically a snare roll with some automation on the low cut. So I slowly cut the lows away. And I combined the snare roll with like a spin down, only then reversed. And that sounds like this. So everything together. And then we go to the second drop. As for the build up, I created tension by removing the low end. I went for the little classic snare roll, you know. Every song is using this, but it works for a build-up, so why not add it, you know? And those were the drums. Not very complicated in this song, but I like to keep things clean. Okay, now that we talked about the drums, I want to take a look at the vocal chops, because I think the vocal chops are like the main part of this song, and they were quite easy to make if you know what you're doing. But anyway, they sound a bit like this. What I basically did was get a vocal of splice that sounds like this and put a lot of effects on it. It looks very complicated, but it really isn't. What I put on it was, if we put everything off for now. First up, let's loop the vocal. Just the vocal. The first thing I did was add some OTT to make it a little more brighter. After that, I already went for a shaper box where it's just a preset rhythm that's basically chopping the vocal up, you know. Next up, fresh air to get even more highs in. Then we got sidechain to make the vocal bounce a little bit. And those 4 effects are basically the main element of the sound. But on top of this, we also have an auto filter, delay and reverb. And these get automated throughout the song to let the vocal move a little bit more. We end up with an EQ. I removed like a harsh frequency, that's all. And we got an automation on the volume. Now, on itself, I still thought that this vocal sounded a little bit dry. And to make up for it, I added also this ambience with exactly the same effects. And if you layer those two together, it sounds way more fuller. The vocals are very nice in the high end, but they are missing a little bit of body, and the second layer is giving it a little bit more body, and those are the vocals. Pads and plucks, let's talk about those now. A thing I did was take the third note of each chord and put it an octave higher. So it sounds a little bit more euphoric, I guess. I layered these plucks with another sound, and that sounds like this. What you might notice is that this layer is a little more spacey, while the other layer has more attack. And if you combine those two together, you have like an attacking layer and a spacey layer. That's why they work together. And a little later, another layer is coming. And that sounds like this. That's even more space here, you know. With the same chord progression. Also important, automations. You don't want every plug to sound the same every time. So I use some frequency automations, some washout at the end. And that with every synth. So it isn't too repetitive. On top of this, at the end of the breakdown, pads are coming in. If we look at the automation, to let them move a lot. They're coming in and out. And then one more thing, the ARP. The ARP is coming in at the breakdown. It's just a very simple melody altogether. And those are the pads and the plugs. As for the effects, I got basic risers. That everybody's using in their songs. The basic textures at the start of the song. Sounds like this. Just to create an atmosphere, you know. There's one cool thing though that I did make myself, and those are the reverb risers. I use them in all my songs actually. It's when you take a chord, put a big reverb on it, and then create your own risers out of it. Combine it with the other affixes. The goal of this is to create like an atmosphere, like you're entering a new dimension or something, I don't know. And I hope it worked out, I don't know. Now let's talk about bass. For this song, also not a very complicated bass. We start with the simple Re's, following the chords. And at the drop, there's one thing I actually changed the last minute. The bass sounds like this. But what I did was took the preset and automated the sustain of the bass. This means that sometimes the bass kinda sounds like an 808 because the sustain is very high, and sometimes it's like a very short bass. Because I played with that, the bass is a little more dynamic, and I think it worked out for the song. As for the vocals, yeah, simple splice loop. The only thing I really did was put a little bit more reverb on it. Apparently some fresh air to increase the highs. And I put a delay on the last part so it echoes through a little bit. As for the breakdown, I just looped the same lopo over and over and over. This is something that in the end I might have done a little bit too much of. The vocal gets a little repetitive, but I think you learn best if your song is already out. So now that the song is out, I know that the next time I might need to be a little less repetitive. But all good, you learn from it. And there you have it, my friends. That's basically the whole song. Keep in mind the version I showed was not mastered yet, so it might have sounded a little different. But I hope you like this little breakdown. Don't forget to add this beat to your playlist, of course, with the link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.